So we're in the cab over section. I got some fiddling to do here.
Last week I got started framing in the cab over area, and this week I'll continue right where I left off.
And there it is.
Welcome back. My name's Jax, and I'm taking this Ford E350 cargo van and converting it into an RV.
I'm using a 3M adhesive to help hold the wool insulation in place. I'll spray it on, wait a few minutes for it to become tacky, then stick the wool onto it. And I'm not wearing gloves because this is a natural wool product, not fiberglass. If you watched the previous video, you'll have seen me make a template, then cut and fit this panel. Now it's going in permanently.
Perfect. Well, that was some doing. Got it pretty much framed in good. Now all we got to do is fasten in those two sides, put some more insulation back there, and do some caulking. That'll clean up pretty nice, and then we can paint. Not bad, not bad. Okay, one cab over completely primed. We got the corners caulked. I would say it looks pretty darn clean. Now we gotta let the caulk dry, and we can put first coat of finish paint on there. Same thing with these. These are the bulkheads. This is the driver's, the cab side. So this is going to go towards the cab. The outside is not painted yet, but not yet. We'll do that when we get them mounted, turned around. I don't have to paint the whole things, but at any rate, that looks really good.
Here I am applying the first finish coat to both the bulkheads and the interior of the cab over area. I should note I am using an exterior grade paint and primer as it was recommended due to the van not being stored in a heated environment over the winter.
Forgot about my esky.
So we've got another day of painting. We're gonna have the cab over area. Put a second coat of finish paint on there, and also on the cab side of the bulkheads. They look reasonably decent, but there are clearly tell that we definitely need a second coat. I don't know if this roller is the best solution to what I'm trying to accomplish here. Maybe a bigger roller, a fatter roller might be better, but it's all I've got on hand at the moment. And the reality of it is, for this is twofold. First of all, this is just a cabinet space. The majority of it isn't going to be in the in the middle of your vision. There's going to be bulkhead covering up. There'll be a shower here with a closable watertight door. There'll be a small opening here in the middle, but for the most part, it's really not going to be that super critical about the finish, at least for now. Once I get a little bit more adept at painting and figure out what this paint wants to do, how it wants to lay down, then we'll end up with a better finish on all the interior cabinets and such like that. So we've also got paint up here on this 2x6 support. These are the support rails for the garage door rail itself. I wanted a nice beefy spot to mount those to, as well as be able to finish it, because they are going to be exposed. The rail, you're going to see the rail in the build when the door is closed, and part of that support. So I wanted to paint that too, just to give it some background, so that it looks finished. So that's why those are painted too. So here we are, off to the second coat of the finish of the paint.
The second coat went on much better and produced a much better finish. So 2 coats it is.
Okay, so just fitting up my bulkheads right now, and I've got to shim the outside edges about a 1/4 inch, it looks like, to get the two panels to come tight together. And I don't really want to, just throw that down, because I do want to fasten this down to the floor, with it being, flat against the floor. There's an angle down here that's screwed to the floor right now that served as the stop for the wall previously, but what I'm going to do is use pocket screws and pockets to screw the panel down, and just eliminate that piece of angle. But so that right now I've got my track saw, my track jig set up. I got a 1/4 inch offset from one side to the other, so I'll be cutting from nothing all the way over to 1/4 inch, just to straighten that bottom up so that the midpoints will come together. Go. That's nice. Perfect. Nice tight fit. Nice. Little bit of an air gap, but that's nice. Perfect. Alright, so got this watertight hatch. That's going to go inside the shower. I got it marked and laid out right here. Just checking to make sure that the lines are where they need to be before I commence to cutting. Looks like I'll be fine. So like I said, that'll be inside the shower, and it'll give us access to the cab over space where we can store toiletries, whatnot. There will also be a sub panel, 12 volt sub panel up here that's going to handle the overhead light here, the shower light, and it'll also cover the toilet. The toilet needs a 12-volt power for the vent, so that'll work out pretty slick too. So I just drill a hole, jigsaw that out, and we'll be laughing. Well, there it is. We got one half of the bulkhead in. It's all fastened in. I've got this watertight hatch just temporarily affixed, and that's going to be inside the shower, so that's why it's a watertight hatch. And what we'll end up doing then is we'll be able to store our toiletries in here, toilet paper and shampoo and whatever else, and make it easy and accessible. And then also, over here, we're going to have a small DC sub panel for controlling the power for the toilet, shower light, and a light inside this cab over area. So that'll work out pretty slick. Alright, that looks like it'll work. So I'm just having myself a ponder, going over all the details of the upcoming project list that I have for this van. I'm kind of stumbling a little bit because I don't have any drawings, I don't have any plans. Everything is basically built off the hip, like we're just pulling the trigger on it, sort of thing. But I want to take some time and think about the steps in the process before I get too carried away and cause myself some grief or anxiety over, well, geez, I just screwed myself, sort of thing. So I went ahead and mocked up the rail here for the door, and I think I can come up another 3/4 of an inch and still be okay. And then this rail is considerably longer than it needs to be. I think we can probably cut it back to roughly right about here, which was where the door is, the side door. This is the side door opening. I've made a decision that I'm going to go ahead and skin the interior with some plywood, the walls anyways. I thought maybe I would halfway skin what I needed, and then use, you know, timber to frame it or to, you know, decorate sort of thing. But I think in the long run for me, it will be just easier to skin everything in plywood. And if I want to make an accent wall, I can certainly make an accent wall, you know, pretty easy. So, and this is kind of a funny area all in itself, because it's on a curve this way and it's on a curve this way. I think what I'm going to do is simplify that curve and just make it straight. It'll just be a straight bevel right down, and that'll make things easier for framing and also finishing. At the end of the day, it'll still look good. So that's part of the next process is putting in some, you know, 2x4 stringers here to, you know, fasten the ceiling to. So that's brings us to the next point, is that I'm going to need some ceiling boards, and I've calculated what I'm going to need to accomplish putting those in. Now, obviously, I got to run some more wiring for the 2 roof vents and all of the lighting, which I'll have. I don't know. I think at this point, if I look down this row here, I think a single line of lighting might be okay, but maybe not. In fact, I do have this cable here, which this one's part of the truck. There was an interior box light that I think that I could just plug up right here in the middle. Now that'll be, you know, more of an emergency aspect, but I'll have beyond the shower, or, you know, beginning where the door is, I can have 2 lights, which I think will probably be sufficient for the bulk of the lighting in here. Over the kitchen area, which is, or the galley over here, about 6-foot galley, they'll have some under the cabinet lights, so there'll be plenty of light there. And then because of the rail system here, the cabinets, I'm gonna have a row of cabinets come down. They're gonna be lower than the rail, but as soon as the rail stops, here obviously is the door. But if we turn around to the galley, I got a lot done today. Got the bulkheads in, did some insulating, got that watertight door cut in and installed. So, I mean, everything looks really good. And if you look outside, if you take a walk outside and check out the van itself, it's interior wise is looking really sharp. All that painting work that I was working on is now all done. So here you are. Thank you very much for tuning in. Be sure to check out next week's video. And if you like the content, be sure to like and subscribe.